Chapter 1. The Problem of the Age. And his disciples answered him, Where will anyone be able to find enough bread here in this desolate place to satisfy these people? Mark 8:4. I have been for a while lying outside the crowd, unable either to feed the multitude or to bring the sick to the Master. Here and there one I have helped, as opportunity has occurred, but I have been called to rest rather than to serve. Yet all the while I have never ceased from constant thought about the perishing multitudes. This great city and its sad estate, this country, an island, and continental nations, are all under a cloud of deep depression. One can remove his body from the turmoil, but his heart is in it still. If ever there was a time when there was a call for the deep sympathy of all Christian people for the perishing multitudes, it is just now. If ever the Church should gird herself to do her Master's service, it is today. Never forget that the Church is the helpmate of Christ. She is his chosen bride, and she is, therefore, to unite with him in his great enterprise among the sons of men. The work is salvation, and that work is to be done by means of divine truth, carried to men externally by human hands, and internally through the Spirit of God. The Church will be false to her heavenly bridegroom if she does not sympathize with the tenderness of his heart, and enter into his gracious labor of love. The question before us is certainly singular, if we remember that those who asked it had seen a former miracle of feeding the multitude. It would seem that those who had seen 5,000 fed would not ask concerning the feeding of 4,000, Where will anyone be able to find enough bread here in this desolate place to satisfy these people? Inasmuch as on one memorable occasion they had seen the Master multiply loaves and fish, they might have expected him to do the same again. I grant you to the full that it was an inexcusable question. I will not offer the slightest apology for it, but it is a very natural question. Natural, I mean, to that fallen and depraved human nature which is our daily grief. He that knows what human nature is will be astonished at nothing evil that it produces. I don't mean human nature merely unrenewed by grace, but I mean that carnal nature which remains even in the disciples of Christ. This is of such a character that it shamefully gives way to unbelief. You ask me to give an instance. I point to you. Have you not often seen the hand of God, and yet the next time you have needed divine help, you have been in anxiety and doubt? Remember how Israel saw the Red Sea divided, and yet the people feared that they would die of thirst. When the split rock had relieved them, they were next afraid of hunger. And after the heavens had rained on them bread, they became alarmed at the size of the giants who dwelt in Canaan. All that God had done seemed to go for nothing with them. They relapsed into their old unbelief. Are you and I much better? Alas, we may here see ourselves as in a mirror. Those who have a smooth path often boast of a vast amount of faith, or what they think to be faith. But those who follow a wilderness way must often confess to their shame that after receiving great mercy they still find unbelief creeping in. This is shameful to the last degree, and should cause us bitter sorrow and great fear, lest we should provoke the Lord to anger. Before us must often rise the example of those whose carcasses fell in the wilderness because of their unbelief. All this makes us fear that had we been with our Lord in the desert, we would not have behaved better than Peter and James and John. We too might have forgotten the former miracle of the loaves, and might have anxiously inquired, Where will anyone be able to find enough bread here in this desolate place to satisfy these people? The question, although it is thus surprising and inexcusable, may, however, be used today for our profit. It may at least do this good. Since we shall not be able to answer it on any human lines, it will show us our inability, and that's what our Lord would make most clear before his power is revealed.